Morning all. Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to focus on range operators. We're still on the basic operators, and I'm particularly interested about these range operators and to see what they mean and how we can look into them. I don't know if I should do all of them at once or if I should only focus on subtopics within the range operators. We'll see how I'm going to do this. But then so far we have range operators, we have closed range operator, we have half open range operator, and then we have one-sided range operator. Okay, I'll look into them and see what they mean. But then this one-sided, already I'm getting the idea that is it an endless loop? But then how can you create something that is an endless loop? You need something to close it, or else it's going to loop forever. One-sided range. Okay, I'll get to it. So what is a range operator to begin with? Let us take some notes about this so that it can help us make sense. Okay, so I think in the previous video we were somewhere here. Let me just comment all these guys here out. See you later, guys. Okay. So we are on range operators. Okay, cool. So Swift includes several range operators, which are shortcuts for expressing a range of values. Okay, so these are shortcuts. Okay. So these are shortcuts for expressing a range of values. What do they look like? They look like this, these three dots here. Now we're gonna make sense to, well, first of all, is it a unary operator? Is it a binary operator? Is it a ternary operator? So far, I think this is a binary operator because it operates on two targets. It focuses on two targets because we need. But then I feel like it can be both, because if we look at this, I just saw this one-sided ranges. It's a postfix, and it can also be a prefix unary operator. Those are some of the things that I'm seeing here. At one point there's an infix operator, which pretty much means it's a binary operator. So those are some of the things that I'm seeing here. So what I'm learning here is that it can be a binary operator, it can be a prefix, unary operator, it can be a postfix, unary operator. Well, we also have an infix, which is a binary. Okay, cool. So those are some of the things that I'm seeing here. We can have something like 1. We can have something like from 1 to 3. We can have something like 2, 3. But then starting from what? I think this is one thing that I'm really looking forward to understanding. Starting from what? We'll get to that. But yeah, so far this is a simple 3 dots like that. And we know the kind of operator that it works on. But now, does it return a value? Does it return a value? That's a good question. Okay, let's test if this returns a value. But then I'm using it the wrong way completely. It shouldn't even make sense. Well, it works. Let me print this. If it returns a value, that means it's printable. Let me print this and see. 1, 3 to 4. That's what we're getting here. So which means it does return a value or multiple values. It says lower bound. I just cannot see this. Lower bound 1, lower bound 4. What do these lower bounds here mean? Oh, maybe it's because, but then we can see this is an operator, right? And now when we use it here, it appears that it returns a value. As we can see here, the operator is currently returning a value. I can see this lower bound 1, lower bound. Okay, this lower bound 1, and then this upper bound 1. Unfortunately, I can't stretch. I didn't see that this was upper bound. So now we're going to understand what these lower bounds and upper bounds mean. And I can't view it any further. Okay, so what is this here? I can see it is wrapped in something. Now, if it returns a value, and if this is what it returns, can I say var range is equal to 1, 2, 3? Will this work? Because we know it's returning this object. Now what happens if I say range? And it appears that it's not complaining. And then lower bound. And then I just print it like this. I'm getting 1. So that means, wow, this is interesting. That means I can create a for loop, right? Where index in range. And then the range is from 1 until 3. And then this has stored within it. What is stored within here? Within here, I can see it's an object. And then we have lower bound and upper bound. But then now, can I see some of the elements of this thing? Not elements, the contents of this range. Because if I say print I, then obviously here we're going to have 1, 2, 3. And obviously we see the lower bound and the upper bound. I guess here the lower bound is the start of the range. So essentially speaking, this operator here turns this thing into an object. In other words, this should be similar to var range 2 is equal to 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Should it work like this? But then it's not going to be, it's not the same thing. Because if I say print range 2, oops. If I say print, why am I getting range 2? Okay, that doesn't work here. Let me make it of type N. Should I make it of type N? Okay, my syntax is wrong. I was trying to create an object similar to the one that you create. Can I say this though? But then what does it mean? I know I'm creating an object here, and lower bound is a reserved word. Anyway, before I get this out of context, let's come back here to the basics. So that's pretty much what I'm seeing here. I can assign this range to a variable and then use that range here. And using this range, I can get the start, the lower bound. I don't know what the lower bound means. Like, is it the start? Is it the end? Can I also get the middle bounds? Can I count how many bounds are here? Or how many items are inside this? And it shows that we have, okay, because I'm printing, lower bound is 1. Okay, where are we? Let me do this. Okay. Okay. Oh, we didn't get to the bottom part. So if I print count, it can show me the length of this range. That's one of the things that it can show me. But now I'm trying to think, how is this thing on earth structured in? And it's quite interesting. So I can print the count, the range of these things. So what other things can I print about this thing? What other attributes? Well, we have the end index, but then is the end index, what is the end index? Past end. What does this past end mean? Okay. Anyway, so what I'm learning about is that it's pretty much this thing, this range operator returns an object, and the object has a set of values inside of it. The answer is yes, it does. What does it return? As far as I understand, it returns an object similar to an array. We can, similar to an array, we can count the number of items inside the element. We can view the first element. We can get the last element. And what data type does it return? What data type does it return? Good question. Because I can't store, what is this? I cannot make a range of strings. It shouldn't work. Because now, but then it seems like it works. Count index. I can make a range of these, but then the problem is, I think essentially we are right when we say this thing returns an object, because we can see I can make a range like this, but I'm not able to print, for example, range. I'm not able to print. For example, how would it know that after A follows B and C and D and E until Z? How would it know that? Because now these are not numeric characters. These are not numbers. These are now strings. How would it know that? Those are some of the interesting things. Now, how many? Let me count. Can it tell me how many elements are here? Okay, let's see. Referencing count property on closed range requires, let's see this, requires that string conform to stridable. Okay. Referencing property count on close range. Okay, this is called a close range. Now we're gonna learn these things. What do we mean when we say it's a close range? Okay, but then so far we were here. So I guess it's interesting that this operator returns a range or an object, and it automatically fills these in here, and it's able to tell us. Okay, I'm using the wrong terms. Okay, now we still have time. Let me print. Okay, I don't want to print anymore. I just want to go back to where we were. So from 0 until 10, we know there's going to be 11. Okay, 0 until 9. There's going to be 11 values in here. So if I print count, range, count, we should get a beautiful 10. Cool. And then from there, we are able to create a for loop. I in range. Then we're able to print I. Then we can see 10 times. It prints it 10 times. Why does it say 10? Oh, it shows you that this has been printed 10 times. Except if I Now this way it gets interesting because I can do this. Wait. And then what if I do a new line? Should I add a string concatenation in this? Why then? Okay, why does it not do what I want to do? But then this is how you escape out of this. And then new character. Or should I do it here first? Then that's what we need to do. Okay. Should be. Maybe it's because I have an extra bracket here. Okay, cool. Oh, well, it shows you that it's still printing 10 times, but then here on the output, okay, well, I guess I confused this with the print. Anyway, it's fine. So let's just do a basic print. Cool. So let's see what's next here. So we have a closed range operator, but then we saw it here. I saw the word closed range operator. Let's see what we can learn about a closed range. Closed range operator NB defines a range that runs from A to B and includes the values A and B. The value of A must not be greater than B. Okay, I guess if it is greater, then it's going to create an endless loop. Let's see. If it creates an endless loop, I don't know how we're going to terminate this, honestly. Will it tell us, though, that it can't tell us? Print closed range. I wonder what it's going to say with the count error. Okay, well, execution was interrupted. There was a breakpoint. The process is being left at the point where it was interrupted. The thread return X to return. Okay, cool. I guess that's where it found itself confused there. I guess one of its flaw is that unlike a for loop, we can create an endless for loop. That's what we can do. But then here, it appears that you cannot create an endless range. Interesting. Oh wait, let me do this again, because we want to see how this is defined. By the way, now it should work well. The closed range defines a range that runs from A to B, and it includes the values A and B. The value of A must not be greater than the value of B. Okay. The closed range operator is useful when iterating over a range in which you want all of the values to be used, such as with a for in loop. Okay, I think I see what this. We know this prints 10 times, but as much as it prints to 10 times, it will always print 9, what we want to use. And we know this because the last value here is 9. But then if I do a for loop, okay, for I is equal to 0, I is less than 9, I wonder if this is still the right syntax to write a for loop in Swift. Print I. Will it work? Are we gonna work? Okay, for loop, this kind of for loop doesn't work. Anyway, we'll get to for loops and we'll see the correct way to write a for loop when we get to this. It's fine. But then what we do understand is that sometimes with a for loop, we can loop from 0 until 8, and then 9 is omitted. So here, we want to use the values themselves. I think that's where it becomes interesting. Because if I create a for loop, it's like we're going through each and every single element within the range, and we are not creating, what is this? we're not creating a range that is what is this, that cannot be accessed. We're creating a range. Okay, I think I'm seeing something here, because now it seems like we're working with the range. Exactly, we're working directly with the range. Now can I, because obviously I know we can create it. Okay, let me not, because obviously we're working directly with these numbers here. Now, do these numbers have to have a particular order? Interesting. We will see. Because it appears that this I is actually this value. That's what I'm seeing here. This I is actually this value. And the I here is the values, is these individual values. That's what I'm seeing. So now, if this value here, say it was a, what is this? A string. The I here would be the string. And that's why it doesn't want to work well. Interesting. It didn't want to work when I used strings. Closed range values operator is useful when iterating over a range in which you want all the values to be used, such as with a for in loop. Okay. For more about for in loop, see control flow, which we'll get to it. And then we have something called half open range operator. Half open range operator defines a range that runs from A to B but doesn't include B. Okay, so which means this is a closed range operator. I'll call this a close. Now I need to change everything. I don't know how to copy and change everything, but I'll do it. Closed range. Now, how am I gonna, what is this? Replace everything. But I wish there was a shorthand way that I knew of replacing everything, but it's fine for now. var, then we have a half range, which starts from 0 all the way to 8. And this is how we do it. A 0 all the way to 8. Print. We can see, if we see print half range, then we say upper bound, then we're gonna see the upper bound should be 8. Okay, but the upper bound is 9, it's not 8. But then what if I do count then? If the upper bound is 9, that means the count will give us 8. And the reason why I say the count will give us 8 is because it's from, okay, let me do this, let me not make it more complex. We know from here to here it gives us 10. Okay, let's make it more meaningful so that it's not confusing for all of us. From 1 until 10. Okay, so this is going to print 10 times, as we can see here. It printed 10 times. That's what we do see here. And so now we say a half range is from 1 until 9, because of this less than symbol here, or greater than symbol rather. Until print as long as, in other words, loop as long as, what is this? Our iterant, if there's such a term, or this I is less than 10, which is 9, and then it's going to end there. But then what's interesting is that the range here is from 1 until 10. And even if I count that is from, but the count is from 1 until 9. That means because of this. Well, the upper bound is 10. Now, can we get the type? Can we get the type of, because we know something interesting. Can we get the type? We have the upper bound, we have the self. Can we get the type of range this is? See, this lazy, sorted, because loop first is reduced, trim. I don't know what the self thing is. I have no idea what the self thing is. Oh, it just shows us self. Okay, I see that. So now in order for us to see what's happening here, we just need to print self, and then we can see it's from 1 until 10. And so now if it is this way, then we can clearly reason that it's a half range operator. Or half open operator. Half open range operator, rather. I was wrong there. Okay, so let's see. Okay. As with close range operator, the value A must not be greater than B. If the value A is equal to B, then the resulting range will be empty. Half open ranges are particularly useful when you work with zero-based lists such as arrays, where it's useful to count up to, but not including the length of the list. Okay, I see that. I see where they're most applicable. Because in the situation that we have here, we have this list of names, right? And then we can get the total number of elements. We can get the count, which literally is the total number of elements inside the list of names. And then we can create a nice, we can use the operator here, half open range operator, to loop through the list. And then as we do so, we're able to get what we want to get. But now, can't I just loop directly with the list? That's one of the things that is coming in my mind here. Can't I loop directly with the list? Let me copy this list here. Can I just do that? Why can't I? Can I just do this for I in? I know I can't do names. I know I can't do names.range. That doesn't exist. Ranges of collection. Okay. Well, I'm sure there's a short way of doing this. To start the body for each loop. Expected. Okay, let me not do this. It's gonna. Okay, let me do this so that I know which errors to separate from which. But then it says a collection. Instance method range required type string equivalent editor. Okay, that's fine. But it works. And it works so easy. So if it works, okay, because now I'm looping through this string here, because now I becomes this first element here, and then Brian, and then Alec becomes the second element, and then so on and so on and so on. That's what I'm getting here. And so now why would I take an extra step? Why would I do this? Okay, we do have names. Why would I say I in, okay, why would I say var count? Okay, count should be a constant, rather. Let me just make it a constant. Let count is equals to name.count, and then I say 0 all the way to count. And then I can, okay, but then if I print I is now a list of numbers. So I guess that's what I'm seeing here. That's what I'm seeing here. This one here, that's the different. I think it's just even the different kinds of loops. This one takes all, pretty much loops these values here. This I now becomes even the data type of this I. Let's do the self. Let's print the self. Okay, well, we can see this Alec, and even if I print self, can I do type of? Will this work? I have no idea if type of is gonna work. Okay, cool. So now I is a string here, and then if I do type of here, I'm missing a I is a string here, and I is an int here. I guess that's the difference that I'm seeing here. That's one of the differences that I'm seeing here. Now I can see why one would want to do this, because obviously it's not always that we want to do this, but then why then can't I do this? Because if we're printing I can't use stat index, because now I is the element of this thing. Let me run it through here. Index row bits. Okay, let me not do that. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I see it now. Because now here we're breaking this thing, and we're accessing elements of this array using I. That's pretty much what I'm seeing here. In other words, anyway, let me not go for that. It's gonna take us a little bit of time since we're also running out of time as well. Such as arrays where it is useful. Note that the array contains 4 items, but 0 only counts as far as, but 0, okay, but then this half open range array counts only as far as 3. The index of the last item in the array, because it's half open range. For more information about array C. Okay, well, we understand about arrays and we'll get to arrays as well when we get there. A one-sided ranges. The closed side range operator has an alternative form for ranges that continue as far as possible. The closed range operator has an alternative form for ranges that continue as far as possible in one direction. For example, a range that includes all the elements of an array from index 2 to the end of the array. In these cases, you can omit the value from one side of the range operator. This kind of range is called one-sided range operator because the operator has a value on only one side. For example, okay, let's see what we're looking at here. For I in names, what happens if I do this? Does it mean I'm looping through everything? Print I. Or maybe this doesn't exist. Okay, cool. Here I'm looping through everything. I'm saying get all the items. That's what we just did here. I printed 4 times. But if I say from 1, oh, sorry, it still needs to be 3 dots. It's only less than 3 dots if I have maybe what is this? A comparison operator. So not, yeah, well, it's a comparison operator, but then it's a greater than or a less than thingy. But then if it's like this, then it's gonna print only 3 items, which it omitted the first item, which is Anna. Cool. Now what if I do this? Okay, no. Okay, it omitted the first item, and we know that the last item is 3, so then it should only print 2 here. If I put 3, it should only print 1, which is Jack. Jack is literally the last item. Item number 3 is index number 3. So here I can get the index exactly the way that I want to get it. So from here, if I say from this until 3, then we know it's going to give us, wait a minute. Oh, it ended at 3. Pretty much this is the start and this is the end. Let me write it down here. Is the start and 3 is the end. Cool. So now that means I can do something. I can say names. Okay. I can create. Let me just do let start index equals to names. Can I do start index? Oh, well, I can do start index, and then I can print start index. Let's see what. Oh, I didn't write my print correctly. Okay, the start index is 0, so that means I can do something like this. I can say here start index, and then I can say let end index is equals to name dot end index, and then I can just come here and say end index. So it should work. It should loop from 0 until 3 because I'm starting from start index. Oh, sorry, I should do this instead because the end index is what? How come the end index is 4? Yeah, it says end index is 4. So that means this is not the index. So if this is not the index, what is it? And why is it called an index? This is similar to a count, because if I say let count names is equals to names.count, and then I say print count names, it's gonna be the same as this here. And that's what we're getting. We're getting a 4 and a 4, which means this and this are equivalent. But then what is the difference now? Okay, but anyway, so it works like this as well. So that's where it gets interesting. So that means we can replace the values with a variable, and it looks like that's a cool thing that we can do there. Happy is our. Okay, let's look into the second one here. One-sided range, because okay, so this is from 2 until 2. This is the start, this is the end. So for names, the start is from 0, the end is at element number 2. Half open range also has a one-sided form that is written only with its final value. Just like when you include a value on both sides, the final value isn't part of the range. For example, okay, I didn't understand that. Again, I think I'm trying to end quickly so that I can finish. Interesting. So if I do it this way, okay, let's finish here first. The half range operator also has one-sided form that's written with only its final value. Just like when you include a value on both sides, the final value isn't part of the range. For example, for name in names, one-sided ranges can be used in other contents, not just in subscripts. You can't iterate over one-sided range that omits a first value because it isn't clear where the iteration should begin. You can iterate over one-sided range that omits its final value. However, because the range continues indefinitely, make sure you add an explicit end condition to the loop for the loop. You can also check whether a one-sided range contains a particular value as shown in the code below. Okay, we can check what the range contains. Okay, how many minutes have I gone through here? Oh, 38 minutes. Okay, I think I'm just gonna end the video here. Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see each other in the next video. Cheers.